Since this episode of the Make It Big podcast was recorded, the war in Ukraine has unfolded and devastated the lives of millions. We had the privilege of sitting down with Sergei Ostapenko, president and CEO of BigCommerce's partner agency, Mira. Sergei is from Ukraine, and we'd like to take a moment to recognize all he is doing to support his home country. Sergei has since flown over to offer direct relief on the ground in Europe and ultimately help save lives. This is near and dear to our hearts with the impact on our own BigCommerce employees and their families in Ukraine. Ukraine is a hub of e-commerce innovation, and not only BigCommerce, but the e-commerce world as a whole wouldn't be where it is today without the talent and hard work of Ukrainian people. These are our colleagues and friends, and we're doing everything we can to support them. We're so inspired by Sergei's bold actions, and we're grateful for all of our partners, customers, and employees at this time, and we continue to keep those affected in our hearts. We'll include resources in the episode description for anyone wanting to learn more.
You're listening to Make It Big, a podcast about all things e-commerce, created by BigCommerce.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Make It Big podcast. My name is Fiona Norton. I'm a product marketing manager at BigCommerce, where I focus on B2B solutions. On today's episode, we're going to be diving into the latest B2B e-commerce trends. We hear a lot about B2C e-commerce, but the rate of growth and innovation in B2B e-commerce right now is staggering, and there's some really interesting trends emerging that I can't wait to talk with you guys about today. So to set the stage, BigCommerce is really focused on B2B. We launched B2B Edition last year, and we're seeing a lot of merchants have huge success. B2B Edition is all about providing B2Bs with a solution that's more modern than legacy solutions, but more open and scalable than typical SaaS platforms. And we recently partnered with the market research firm Profitwell to conduct a survey of B2B businesses across the US. We've published our findings in the new State of B2B Ecommerce report, which you can find linked in the episode description. Today, we're going to be uncovering our findings from the report and diving into some must-know B2B trends for 2022. I'm so excited to have Sergei Ostapenko from Mira joining me in this conversation to offer his expert insights. Sergei is the CEO and owner of California-based Mira. He's an entrepreneur and e-commerce strategy consultant working with mid-market and enterprise brands across the US and Europe. Prior to taking over Mira, Sergei ran the e-commerce practice of Valtech in North America and has also worked in finance and operations at huge brands like Microsoft, Avon Cosmetics, AIG, and the Coca-Cola Company. Sergei, thanks so much for joining us on the Make It Big podcast today.
Thanks for having me, Fiona. Excited to be here.
So to kick us off, can you tell us a bit more about Mira and the work that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for inviting me to the Make It Big podcast. It's a great podcast to be on. Mira, we are the collective of 70 professionals in e-commerce. There are 70 people in the company. We build online storefronts and custom applications for merchants, distributors, brands, and we do so in North America, in Latin America, and in Europe. The company has been in business for about 18 years, and we really evolved in the past 3 years from just a systems integrator to a full-service technology consulting company in commerce. And in doing our work, we focus on three things. We build really amazing user experiences. We drive business outcomes for these merchants who employ us. And then we also empower their users, our clients' business teams, to operate these sites and applications in the most effective way. We also are developing products for e-commerce, such as various shopping cart connectors. We build international shipping and payment solutions. And recently, we've engaged into building some very innovative augmented reality applications. We support a lot of businesses, and most of our clients, they seek to modernize their technology stack, and they're considering going either full or hybrid headless models in both B2C, B2B channels, both retail and wholesale. We are an elite agency partner of BigCommerce, and we also are members of the BigCommerce Advisory Board here in North America. And we really appreciate this partnership and the great people from BigCommerce who support our clients.
Awesome. Well, I think it's safe to say you have a ton of expertise to share with our listeners today, so let's dive in. I'd like to kick things off by setting the state of the current B2B e-commerce landscape. The last few years of explosive e-commerce growth have shown us that e-commerce is now more than a nice to have, it's a must have, not only for D2C businesses, but for B2Bs too. So Sergei, tell us about today's B2B businesses. Which industries are seeing the most success in selling B2B online, and where are we seeing the most growth and potential?
Now, Fiona, interestingly, I recall that back in 2019, Forrester predicted that share of B2B transactions online is going to be just 17% in 2023. And look at what we have today. Over half of businesses in B2B do online shopping. And it's revolutionary. It's really amazing how far we've gone in just these few years. What we're seeing is that in B2B space, businesses in the verticals like healthcare and those in wholesale distribution like automotive aftermarket parts and accessories, industrial supplies and parts of all kinds, these businesses continue to streamline those B2B cross-channel sales efforts and basically building out their B2B channels even further. We've seen a lot of new site overhauls and new channel launches and a lot of custom application builds. But most importantly, I think what we've seen in 2020, 2021 is the major shift in the SMB and mid-market space, where companies are finally streamlining their retail and wholesale channels online, and they bring that B2B channel into the digital fold, utilizing and enhancing the retail site investments, powering B2B use cases as well. That trend was especially visible for us in pet care, in toy industry, kitchenware, household appliances, home furnishings, and some others. And we see that digital toolkits and various extensions for B2B continue to evolve, and they're becoming more and more affordable to mid-sized companies. There's a huge focus on multiple channels and very significant concern about the direct-to-consumer potential cannibalization in the value chain of our B2B customers. And so that orchestration of B2B versus direct-to-consumer is a huge challenge.
I completely agree. That's a huge revolution for B2B companies. What about the buyer side? What makes today's B2B buyers different from B2B buyers of the past?
Yeah, this is actually the most exciting part of this transformation to see, Fiona. B2B buyers are way younger than those even a few years ago. They're mobile, self sufficient, utilizing chat, messaging, click to call functionalities. It's no more an old friend clubs with Rolodexes out there. Secondly, they have legacy free mindsets. Digital self service model is very well perceived by them. They're less tolerant of your marketing and sales disconnects. And we actually see an inverse learning model. It's young training old, not old training young as it used to be. These people prefer digital discovery to talking with sales reps, and they're quite mobile, always shifting between physical and digital. There's an expectation of seamless experience that they have with the B2C sites, with those of Amazon experiences that they also want from the B2B sites. So they always are quickly researching the products, self-educating, and only interacting with you if they need to. There are multiple journeys to the purchase paths in B2B. And if I were to summarize, I would say that a modern seller to B2B customers, to B2B buyers, must be digitally adept, and he or she will need to share deep insights with these buyers. And they need to engage in this potential solution creation with the buyer rather than just take the orders from them. And this B2B technology infrastructure that we're talking about is a very powerful tool in this process that enables creation of those solutions.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to think about these trends, especially for businesses that are going online for the first time. Let's break this down even more, and let's say we're in the shoes of a B2B business owner who wants to grow their e-commerce channel from scratch. Can you walk me through some of the unique challenges I'm going to face when starting to sell online?
So fundamentals, right? Going back to fundamentals, B2B is actually transactions between companies, not between individuals and the companies. But at the end of the day, this is about relationship selling. And so it's one-to-one relationships between people at those companies. And so as a merchant selling to other merchants or members of your value chain, distribution, resellers, retailers, you always rely on your sales force going out there and consulting those buyers and interacting with them, building up those relationships, taking orders, engaging in solution building. But in this pandemic, especially, what we have seen is that there is no more physical contact. And there are limitations on your reach and scalability if you want to reach out and create a wider net of retail operations and sign up retail partners, right? And so, as a merchant selling to those retailers, you need to find ways to reach out to them, but not only do that, but also educate them and make them successful with your products, right? And so, scalability of your sales force is a major issue. You deploy those online tools and your website becomes your selling tool, But then how do you effectively onboard and make those merchants successful? You do that by building those engaging, amazing experiences, but you need to deliver the relevant content to them. And this is where B2B sites really shine, and the opportunity to talk one on one with these merchants is really great. You can continue to advise them in a meaningful way. So you can recommend the specific bundles and kits of products that they need to make present in their stores so that they successfully can sell additional volume of your products. You can recommend what products sell well as complementary to other products, building those dynamics kits and bundles, recommending basically the things that are going to be successfully sold in their environment with their context, in their line of business and setup. If you have other channel partners, also channel cannibalization is a very big concern for many. Some companies solve it by launching sister brands or maybe gating specific territories and segments to be service fulfilled by their specific distributors, et cetera, et cetera. And so this interaction between direct to consumer as well as wholesale sales online, those channels need to be perfectly orchestrated. And those are some of the challenges that they deal with every day.
I want to dig into something you said there. You mentioned the importance of creating really engaging consumer like experiences for B2B buyers. And we're definitely seeing that B2B companies are ready to invest. From our survey, we saw over a third of US B2Bs said investing in e commerce platform technology is one of their top priorities for the next 12 months. So we're really excited to see that they're ready for that digital transformation and to invest in those experiences. And I think the rate of innovation in B2B commerce will just continue to rise. One way that businesses can kind of up level that online experience is with a headless solution. So I'd love to know, how are you seeing B2Bs harness the power of headless commerce to create these unique experiences?
Fiona, headless is on the rise. Just to make sure that everybody remembers the fundamental definition, headless commerce is an e-commerce architecture where you decouple the front end, your website, from your back end shopping cart, e-commerce platform functionality, and so you can update or edit or customize your back end without interfering with the front end of your site. It's opening up a lot of possibilities for the merchants. That architecture can be leveraged in so many ways. You can implement custom business rules. You can integrate with systems seamlessly. You can and build your custom integrations in a flexible way. You can deploy additional custom applications in the cloud, port them to your shopping cart, and bring to the storefront experience. And so it allows you to be staying outside of any single vendor solution, enabling this plug and play type functionality for different systems of record in your ecosystem. You can enrich your B2B buyer profiles, personas, and market to them in a meaningful way, creating that wow effect. And then it's much easier to use by internal teams as well. The shopping cart becomes just a plug and play system of record, and it fulfills a specific purpose in your environment, just as CRM or ERP do. And then also, Headless provides for omni-channel opportunities at scale. You can leverage your ecom platform investment to support various business use cases. And they may range from web and mobile apps to marketplaces to POS systems in store checkouts and so forth.
Yeah, I totally agree. Headless is certainly not the only way to provide those consumer-like experiences, but it's exciting to see the possibilities that that opens up for innovation and those wow experiences that you mentioned. So let's get beyond the basics for a minute. Let's say you're a more digitally established brand and you want to get into that true innovation. What are some of the really innovative approaches and technologies that you're seeing in the space?
Yeah, Fiona, we're seeing the proliferation of augmented reality and various tools related to that. And so traditionally, people have built configurable products in cart in the product page itself, looking at the 3D views of the product they're building and then placing it in the physical environment. In the B2B context, what makes sense is to go backwards and to actually point your camera, your device at the machine, and for machine to actually tell you what needs to be replaced, which sensor is showing the overheating, and you should call for the maintenance of the machine and so forth. So we see augmented reality as the enabler, as a huge value creator, as a new channel for B2B commerce. And it's transforming practically every business that we know of. In future, it will transform how we learn, make decisions, how we interact with the physical world, how we serve customers, train employees, everything. And it also disrupts marketing and sales. In the B2B context, specifically, it's not just a toy. It becomes a tool to be used to ease that experience for the B2B buyers, for removing that friction from the channel, and for them to be instantly be able to point the camera at the device or a gadget and be able to reorder that or get additional input, information about it, education, and so forth. So we are experimenting with some of those solutions for a few of our B2B customers. And if anybody wants to join in the experimentation, they're welcome to.
Another trend we're seeing is just the overlap in different business models. Over a third of B2B businesses have an equal focus on selling B2B and B2C. How are companies tackling selling both B2B and B2C online?
Another interesting question, Fiona. So in the most common scenario, one can set up separate customer groups for both B2C and B2B on the website with group-specific pricing, categories, products visible to only specific groups. And in many cases, this is sufficient to enable the basic core B2B shopping. But it only works for simplest of cases. It's a nice, elegant way to deploy B2B experience on your B2C site, leveraging your investment and using the same application, same instance of it to power both experiences. However, as you get more complex cases, as you scale your B2B business and have various members of your supply chain shopping there, you need to enable complex scenarios such as promotions, bundling, and so forth. And so most platforms either have great B2B extensions and versions of themselves, or it's also an opportunity for you to consider headless implementation, where you can build custom experiences for the B2B buyers and deploy custom storefronts for them as well. That's how they may tackle some of these challenges and opportunities. And we see a lot of innovation in the space, especially in the last year, with mid-market merchants who are really seeing the opportunity finally materialize, and so much more volume is shifted online in these B2B transactions.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, have you seen any examples of merchants that are doing this really well on BigCommerce today?
Oh, absolutely. One of our customers, a Canadian manufacturing and distributor of headgear, RC Pets, they're engaged in both B2C and also building out the direct to consumer channel. And actually, it's an interesting case because they launched their B2B site first and they're going direct to consumer now and modifying their business model along the way. One thing people got to understand, Fiona, and many do, that B2B distributors and manufacturing companies, for them, this direct to consumer initiative presents not just the technology challenge. It's not just the, deploy the shopping cart for direct to consumer challenge. For a lot of B2B companies, their processes and systems are not tailored for the direct to consumer channel. And their lowest unit of measure, for example, is a pallet or a crate of products or a case of products. And they sell in containers, in shipments, in not in single units, right? Thinking about the direct to consumer channel is a completely separate topic here. But, they need to transform the way they operate, provide customer service, handle returns, and so forth. And so for a lot of companies, they start with the B2B channel online experience building and then transition to D2C. Now, the reverse also is widely visible there. Going direct to consumer, selling retail, and then bringing the B2B transactions into the fold. For a lot of companies, these two experiences and shopping channels are disconnected. They're completely different groups within the organization that handle both. And so we see a lot of examples how they're converging and bringing that B2B selling channel into the fold of B2C. So one example would be Griot's Garage, a US-based manufacturer, distributor, and retailer of car care products, tools, garage accessories for car enthusiasts like myself. We relaunched a BigCommerce store online for them in October 2021, and it's already a huge success and an uplift in their online sales. Now they're building out other channels, and their focus is on data cleansing, analytics, meaningful personalization in that B2B context. For many of our clients, Fiona, launching these channels concurrently online means that it's a major ERP and product data cleansing effort to sort of orchestrate those beautiful experiences where the product catalog is visible across the channels and the orders can be channeled correctly. And so it's often a blocker to deploying those new channels online, but we're helping them moving forward with it.
Yeah, so what's the next step? Let's say that you're a merchant and you've established that e-commerce experience, but you want to get the word out about it. What are some of the best B2B marketing practices, and how do those differ from what we're seeing in the D2C world?
So a lot of the same marketing fundamentals apply to B2B channel as they do apply to B2C. You got to build that amazing user experience for B2B buyers. And they need to be able to achieve their goals with your site, with your toolkit you're giving them. And in providing that to them, you need to think about what job they are hiring your product or gadget to do. You remember that innovator's dilemma in disruptive innovation by Christensen? So I very much like the concept of considering, they're not just purchasing a gadget. What do they need that gadget to do? What is their context? Understanding their intent, interpreting that intent, and being there where they need you and when they need you is very important. So you got to personalize to the extreme. So you got to look at their unique purchase history in relation to to their business growth. And you need to offer them kits and bundles and recommendations that make sense for them. And so your website really becomes the advisor, that expert associate that gives them the tools, recommendations to improve their business. So you got to think about that when building that experience. You need to focus on the deep product discovery, deep, implementing things like faceted navigation so that it's easy to filter and find the products, remove those cognitive load barriers. Now, how do I find that? How do I submit the order? How do I reorder? And so there are three things that we always focus on when we build these experiences. You focus on the search results, then you focus on the product vitrina, the product description page, the product information, and then the checkout experience. Those are the three most important elements of that website that are going to drive sales. Forget the homepage. Homepage is not existent anymore. It's dynamic. It's composed of the different blocks that are arranged for each buyer specifically for them. Right. So those are some of the fundamentals in building those experiences. But it's such a huge topic. There are way more to discuss there than fits this podcast.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure we could have multiple episodes on that alone, but some great insight there. So, to wrap up, I want to touch on some of the trends that we're seeing emerge in the B2B e-commerce space for 2022. Based on our survey findings, over a quarter of B2Bs ranked selling through third-party B2B marketplaces as an important goal for the next year. What are the advantages for B2Bs to sell on marketplaces like Amazon and eBay?
Oh, I think it's very obvious. These are additional sales channels that are must-have, and they bring additional volume and reach to you. The competition is global for everyone in the B2B, no longer territorial or geographic barriers. And there's a huge price pressure as a challenge to every B2B merchant. And so it's critical to be out there because you know what? The users' paths, they originate with Google search today. They don't necessarily go to your website. They go to Google search, and in some cases, Google Shopping directly there. And so, Amazon experiences, eBay experiences, all the rest of the marketplaces out there. You got to be on there, and I think that most people understand that it's either you with your beautiful experience, or it's sticky you, or it's Amazon in a nanosecond. Okay, so what if you do not have your website perfectly deployed and not ready yet to be, to be an effective sales tool? Okay, well, you still get a list on Amazon and eBay and present your whole product offering there so that they can do the product discovery there. It's a very critical piece of it, and you cannot neglect that. But I think that most people get that anyway.
Yeah, and speaking of product discovery and where you want to surface your brand, another trend we're seeing carry over from the D2C side is social media. So I'm really curious to get your thoughts on social marketing and selling for B2B brands.
There's a lot of experimentation going on there, and it may still be an untapped opportunity for B2B. It's growing very fast. And I think that in some verticals, this is more applicable than in the others. I think social as a channel is an absolute opportunity for every business model out there. And so the ease of turning on that channel and ease of presenting your products in that social portal or social channel matters a lot. And fortunately, again, this is where I think BigCommerce shines a lot, where the channel toolkit that BigCommerce provides out of the box enables you to sell on social without any friction. I don't know if Fiona, you have anything to add to that, but I think that we'll see a lot of wow type innovation in the social for B2B this year.
Yeah, there's really not an established playbook for B2Bs for selling and marketing on social like there is on the B2C side yet. So, I think that's coming and I'm excited to see this evolve. And I think to your point, companies that can test and learn fast with these new channels and tactics and social might be able to gain a competitive edge within their industry. And so that's something we're really focused on at BigCommerce is enabling merchants to be able to add new channels quickly and actually do that testing and learning so that they can, see where that takes them and double down where they're seeing success. So, along with what we talked about, creating these engaging online experiences, B2Bs are really focused on upleveling their overall customer experience and trying to keep up with those ever rising B2B buyer expectations. How can B2Bs leverage the different tools and systems that are out there to create a superior customer experience?
Fiona, I don't think that B2B context is much different from the B2C context. When you say amazing shopper experiences, what are they? A lot of people think that by deploying a new shiny tool or a product on their website, they're going to automatically improve that experience. But are these experiences driven by beautiful user interfaces of the sites or applications, or are you winning awards with your designs? What if your site has a stunning modern look and it's useful for the B2B shopper, but they cannot find what they're looking for? So I just want to be clear that people understand, powerful experience happens and amazing user experience happens when there are certain components present. And these are, you capture all the touch points of the shopper with your brand, digital and physical. You're able to get the meaning from her interactions with your brand to be able to serve that personalized, relevant content. You must be able to fully understand and be able to interpret her or his context for shopping, the urgency, the focus, the openness, and so forth. And you are also able to talk with the shopper in a meaningful way, fully personalized way, not just via emails, but across all the channels. That ability to serve timely and relevant content, yes, it's powered by systems and tools, but unless you own that consumer profile, unless you meaningfully mine that for insights, you're not going to get far. And not a single vendor out there provides all in one solutions for the components of that experience. And so your objective really should be to compose your user experience out of various tools and products, best of breed in their specific category, owning that consumer profile and your custom business rules, and making sure that your systems supporting that experience are plug and play. With that mindset, you indeed would be able to build those experiences. And then one time, one of my clients said, Sergei, we get all of this, but how do we start on this path of building consumer profiles and connecting the dots? And the answer to that is start asking the right questions. So, for example, like what are my systems of record that are going to feed my customer data platform, my search engines, my content management systems, and so forth? Another one is what are the most obvious journeys of my shoppers today on their path to checkout? Most importantly, like post checkout experience of those buyers. It doesn't matter if they're B2B or B2C. Where and when can I assist them to make informed and clear choices? Those are the questions to start from. And then you can talk to experts in this area to help take you further on that path.
Yeah, absolutely. To close us out, what's one word that you would use to describe the future of B2B e-commerce?
Well integrated. I think that that's the trend we're seeing. The orchestration between different channels and orchestration of that experience of the user following them in their journey to purchase, path to purchase, and especially past purchase, understanding all the touch points with your brand, understanding their needs, their context, what their business needs to succeed. That cannot happen without integrating that B2B buying experience into your various other streams of digital inside your organization. PTC company out there that has a lot of product lifecycle management and augmented reality tools. They call it the digital thread. So I think that really defines the future, that digital thread. It's no longer about the shopping cart. It's no longer about the headless versus all-in monolithic. It's not anymore about some decoupled experiences out there. It's about digital thread to which you weave all these additional data points and experiences they have, the touch points, and you integrate all of that into this beautiful, beautiful, well-composed experience for the users.
Yeah, for me, one word to describe the future of B2B commerce is now. So many B2B companies are transforming the way they do business, and this is a really exciting time to be in this space. So, Sergey, thank you so much for all of your insights. If any of our listeners want to learn more about Mira Commerce and the beautiful B2B experiences you're creating for brands, where can they find you?
Oh, absolutely. So go to our website, miracommerce.com. We have a great LinkedIn profile, and at LinkedIn, we are publishing a lot of interesting insights and announce our exciting launches, and you can interact with us there. Sign up to our YouTube channel as well. And most of all, we'll be glad to meet you in person. We'll be at the Shop Talk in Vegas at the end of March, March 27th to 30th. And we'll be exhibiting there and showcasing some of the cool solutions we built for the merchants. So booth number 8014, and we welcome you there.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. For those listening, you can find our full State of B2B e-commerce report linked in the episode description. Also, be sure to tune in to more Make It Big podcast episodes to get expert insights on the industry's latest trends. And be sure to share what you've learned on social and tag us at BigCommerce. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Fiona.
Thanks for listening to the Make It Big podcast. For even more e-commerce insights and advice, be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts and keep up with the latest episodes.